Today's Q&A is about cheese. So a person who says, I eat chalav stam, and since I know that cheese, you just make it out of milk, so then is it right that I could just eat any cheese, even without a hechsher, because it's just made out of milk, and I eat chalav stam? And the answer is not so fast. Milk doesn't just turn into cheese all by itself. The way milk turns into cheese is using something called rennet. That's for most cheeses, like mozzarella cheese, American cheese, cheddar cheese. There are other kinds of cheeses. They're called soft cheeses, like cottage cheese, where that isn't what goes on, but that's not today's discussion. Today we're talking about regular, what we call hard cheeses. And the traditional way to get that rennet is from the fourth stomach of a cow. It's called the keva. And of course, on the surface, that sounds horrible because something from a cow in milk sounds like basar b'chalav, a problem of milk and meat, but it happens to be, there are ways to do that it would not cause a problem of basar b'chalav. But Chazal had a different concern. That wasn't their concern that you'd use keva from a kosher animal that had shchita. They were concerned that you use keva from a nevela, from an animal that did not have shchita. And therefore they made a gzeira called gvinas akum, which is that you cannot eat cheese made by someone who's not Jewish, because of a concern they might have used a kevis nevela to turn the milk into cheese. Now, this Isra of Gvinas Akum is stricter than Chalav Akum. So even if people who eat Chalav Stam, who they say, we know that they're only using the cow's milk, and therefore they're of the opinion that you're allowed to eat Chalav Stam, but in Gvinas Akum does not work like that. And even if you know that the company makes it without Kevis Nevela, without using the Keva, the rennet from a non-kosher animal, you're still not allowed to eat it. And you have to have cheese that's Chalav Yisrael. I'm sorry, you have to have cheese that's Gvinas Yisrael. So it's possible that cheese could be not Chalav Yisrael, but it could be Gvinas Yisrael. But everyone holds you have to have cheese that's Gvinas Yisrael. Okay, what does it take to make cheese into Gvinas Yisrael? So the Ramah says a yid has to be present when they're making the cheese to make sure that they don't use Kevis Nevela. He has to keep an eye on it and watch it and make sure that they don't use Kevis Nevela. And the Shach argues, and he says that's not what makes it into Gvinas Yisrael. You have to have one of two things. Either a Jewish person has to be the owner of the milk, of the cheese, of the rennet, the different things. He has to own something. It should be Gvina that belongs to Yisrael. That's one possibility. Or he has to be part of the making of the cheese by throwing the rennet into the vat. Okay, so that's what the Shach holds. Most poskim accept the opinion of the Ramah, and therefore there are some cheeses that are made not Chalav Yisrael, Chalav Stam cheeses that are made Gvinas Yisrael just by having a mashgiach present. They just keep an eye on what's going on, and that makes it into be Gvinas Yisrael as per the sheet of the Ramah. But other brands of Chalav Stam and all Chalav Yisrael, at least in the United States, all brands of Chalav Yisrael and some brands of Chalav Stam do satisfy the Shach and the Ramah, which is to say, is a mashgiach is there when the cheese is being made, that's for the Ramah to make sure that they don't use Kevis Nevela. And the mashgiach also puts the rennet in, so that according to the Shach, we have also been Yotzei to make it into Gvinas Yisrael.